Hello, welcome to Everyday Life and Finance with Robbie. I'm Robbie. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I want to talk about your journey to financial security. I talk about finance and everyday life, and this is really, really important. So, let's talk a little bit about savings and investments today, because that's a big part of your creating financial security. So, before I start, I just want to say that if you don't watch already, I do really suggest that even if you just watch 10 or 15 minutes a day, if you watch CNBC, Jim Cramer on Mad Money, he usually comes on 6 p.m. Eastern time, but he's on throughout the day. But if you just watch even just the first 10 minutes of the show, you'll learn so much about investments and money and just everyday topics. So I strongly suggest that you take a look at him and just watch, just 10 minutes a day. And if you can watch the full hour, watch the full hour. But if not, take 10 minutes, because it's all about making certain that you have established financial security, that you are ready for any turns in the economy and the market, that you are prepared. So you want to be prepared. So just like you watch your local news, you should be watching some type of financial news. And I think he's great, and he may also be on some other platforms. But if you watch him on CNBC, CNBC.com, take a look. But you'll love him. He's great. So again, today we'll be talking about savings and investments. So savings, it can include money market accounts, savings that are tied, with your local bank, where you have a checking account and you have a savings account established there as well for any like short-term or emergency needs. Whereas you need to access money right away, and you have a savings account with your local bank. Some people still do that. Some people do everything online, because you do with online money market accounts and savings accounts, you still can get a debit card, with an online savings account. And with money market accounts, they also offer, debit cards and checks as well with money market accounts. So that's the first thing, that you really want to make certain that you have access to short-term funds and short-term savings, and you want to have longer-term savings. This is different from investments. So you should have savings and you should have, investments. So a savings account, you can have like your short-term, you can have with, a local bank or something like that, something that's tied to your checking account. I know in some instances they have checking accounts that are linked to savings. So if by chance you overdraft or something like that, your savings account will kick in. But you can speak to your local bank about that. So that, I really wouldn't keep a lot of money in that, but that's just really for emergencies. If you need something and right away, and you want to have access, and you need to run around the corner to get money out, or you just need something quickly, that's a good vehicle for short-term savings. But you also want to set up some type of medium term savings, for medium term or long term goals. If you're saving for something specific, you can set up, online money market accounts. The online accounts, I'm going to be honest, as opposed, that's why I said you don't really want to leave too much in your local bank, because the interest on those accounts, those savings accounts, it's small, it's very low. So you really, for your real savings, and for your savings for, like, if you're saving for a vacation, saving to renovate your house, or just saving just for security, because you should, my rule of thumb is that you should at least have 5 to 8 months savings, in the bank, 5 to 8 months of expenses in your savings account, so that in the event that something happens and you can't work, or you don't have access to funds, you at least know that you can survive for at least 5 to 8 months. And I know I'm not saying just dump everything in like that. You build up to that, even if you just start out by contributing, $50 to $100 in a savings account, an online money market account, I should say. Savings, you want to just set a certain amount, a few $100, $1,000, something like that, something smaller in your local savings account, just, for those emergency events, but for, other, medium term savings, you want to look at online accounts because they do pay a higher interest rate, and you still have it, they're still accessible. Your funds are still accessible because, again, with the online money market accounts, you have checks, you can do, transfers back to your local checking account. And you can do all of those things. So, some good options. Capital One is a great option. Fidelity has some options, along with if you have an investment account. We'll talk about that. But Capital One, and there are quite a few others. But I just know that Capital One has a very high interest rate on their money market account. So you may want to take a look at them and see. And also Fidelity, they do offer, if you want to just invest in a money market account, they do offer that as well. You don't have to invest in, mutual funds or stocks, any type of equities. You don't have to do that with them. You can just invest in a money market, and their rates are pretty good as well. So you want to look at, maybe look at those two, and there are others, but those are just two that I know offhand that have great rates. So again, with the savings account, you also want to set up, and I say again, I've said this in other videos, you want to make certain that with your savings accounts, you set up a beneficiary on those accounts, or they call it a POD in some instances, payable on death, so that in the event that something happens to you, those funds immediately go over to that beneficiary. They don't have to go to probate court or anything like that, or and it just saves that person a lot of time and unnecessary time and effort. So I do recommend or encourage you to include a beneficiary or POD on your savings account, and check these. Each year you should do a check of your beneficiaries to make sure that nothing has changed. You don't want to take someone off, or you think maybe someone else might do better, might be better suited, as a beneficiary, that you prefer them to receive your funds, then you may want to change it. So you should check that at least annually. You should do a check of all your beneficiaries, and your savings, to make certain that looking at the rates and so forth. Although I look at that throughout the year, at least quarterly, you look at the rates and make certain that there are no changes that you weren't anticipating, or that you're not happy with, because you can always move your funds. You're not stuck with any institution. You can move those funds, whether it's savings or even, retirement funds. But that's, we talk about that in other episodes, but we're talking about savings today. And you can move those funds to wherever you want, whenever you want. And in some instances, you can do it right over the phone. You don't have to go out and go to the bank or anything like that. You can move your funds, close your account, start a new account, everything from the convenience of your own home. So I do recommend that you set up a short-term account with like your local bank with just, a smaller amount of money, and then have, set up online money market accounts, and they pay more, and set that up. And you can have a few of those. Let's say you want to set one up for, a vacation, you want to set one up for different things, a car, a home renovation, you want to set them up. You can set up as many as you want. and you'll be fine. So I do recommend that you start there, making certain that you have a savings account and you have one account that's specifically designated as your emergency account, and it should have 5 to 8 months of or more, if you can do it, of expenses, in that account, so that in the event something happens, you know that you're covered for that period of time. And again, you with these accounts, you can make automatic, in most banks and most investment companies, you can do automatic deductions, so that the funds go in automatically to those accounts, and you don't have to think about it or worry about it. You know that that's coming out of your account and you are saving on a regular basis. That's the real goal. In your journey to financial security, it's all about consistency, and really focusing on your goals, but being consistent. And even if you fall off, let's say you have a bad month and you need to suspend your automatic deductions for a month or so, make sure you get back to it, get back on, say, okay, I'm going to stop the deductions for 1 or 2 months because XYZ happened. But make sure you get back and start again. And again, I don't care where you are, what stage in life you are, you should have some savings. You should have something set aside for a rainy day. Okay, now let's talk about investment. So I talked a little bit about watching CNBC, and I do strongly encourage you to watch, even if it's not CNBC, like I said, Jim Cramer, Mad Money, some type of financial news, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes, so that you know what's going on, in the world, what's going on, with the economy and where are things going, so that you know how to make decisions. Are oil prices going up? So do I need to make a decision? I'm buying a car, if you're buying a car and you say, oh, oil prices are going to go higher, or we're moving towards electric cars, maybe I need to do that. So you want to know what's going on in everyday life, because it also impacts your finances. So I suggest, we're talking about investments, but I do suggest you watch some type of financial news. I encourage you to watch Jim Cramer, Mad Money. He's excellent. I've been watching him for years. So aside from, this is different. When I'm talking about investments today, I'm not talking about your retirement accounts. That's separate. You should have a savings account. You should have investment accounts. You should have, some form of retirement account, depending on your age. Again, all of this, you should discuss it with your financial professional. But, I'm just giving you some ideas, so that when you go in and when you speak with your financial advisor, you have some idea of what you want to do, and you can ask questions. So hopefully I'm helping you in that manner. So you definitely, with investment accounts, you can invest in mutual funds, or if you're comfortable, you can invest in individual stocks. Or you can do a combination of both. Maybe say, okay, I'm not really, I don't really know the stock market. If you don't know the stock market and you say, but I want to try it, there's nothing wrong with that. So pick a company that you know. For example, picking Apple or Nvidia or Microsoft, companies that you hear about on a regular basis. Take a look at those and see, and you say, okay, Apple's really doing well. And when you set up an investment account, you can contact any type of investment brokerage, whether it's Charles Schwab, whether it's Fidelity Investment. I highly recommend Fidelity. They have great webinars. Charles Schwab also, they do have, great educational programs and videos and things of that sort. And they also have advisors that are available to you to speak to you, to answer any of your questions. And I believe most of them, or like 24 hours. They're available 24 hours of the day. You can speak to someone about your investments and setting this up. And setting up those accounts are just as easy. You can either call them or you can do it online, and it's really an easy process and something that you can do. And with those accounts, in many instances with your investment accounts, you can establish an automatic, monthly payment. So monthly deduction, I'm sorry, so that you can contribute to your investment funds on a regular basis. Because again, being consistently investing, that's important in your journey to financial security. So I do encourage you to, if you don't have an investment account, to set one up. And even if you're just starting out with a small amount, $25, $50, $100, even, it doesn't matter, start. And if you already have an account, great. I'm happy to hear it, but make sure you continue to monitor it. Don't just put money in and just forget about it. That's not investments. You definitely don't want to do that. You want to take a look at it. You want to call the financial advisor and talk about it. Call if you set up an account with the Fidelity or Schwab. You want to call them and say, hey, I just want to do a review of my account to see how it's going and whether I want to stay in those stocks. And they will walk you through it. They will also point you in the right direction to the online resources so that you can view your account. You can see how it's performing, monthly, how it's performing quarterly, for the year, or longer. You can take a look at everything and you can monitor it. But I strongly suggest that you get started. And again, the sooner the better, and consistency matters. So hopefully this was helpful, and you are off to a great start, or continuing to do well with your journey to financial security. Okay, so thank you again for joining me. If you like this content, please like, share, subscribe, and comment below if you have any questions. I do check my comments, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks again.